All right. Juice World suffered a seizure in the Chicago Midway. He was coming from California on a trip, and he suffered a seizure and died. They say he was foaming from the mouth. Obviously, that's one of the signs of a seizure, and blood was coming out of his mouth. And later, the paramedics showed up. They noticed that okay, he didn't really have a pulse, and by the time he reached to the hospital, he died. It was DOA. And I just want to say, condolences to him and his family. It's a really sad thing, man. You lost like XXXTentacion, other rappers, Lil Snoop back in the day, Mac Miller. I mean, it's just due to drugs. Well, Lil Snoop was killed in the hood, but and Dex Osama was from Detroit. He got killed due to some ignorance, man. And it's just, in this music industry, it's like a trending thing, man. You got a lot of young kids and people with young talent that wasn't really fully developed and that has so much potential coming up missing or dead, man. And you think about like rappers like Future and other rappers in the hip hop community nowadays are they're most of them are promoting this type of lean and like Playboy Cardi is. I listen to his music every now and then. I understand that this is just solely entertainment, but when you're rapping about drugs constantly each and every single time, and you actually do it, man, and you glorify it, and it's just negative consequences that happen. You either in death or you have some type of disease and you're drinking lean, you're making songs about it being popular, and this is what you sell to your fans. I mean, dang. And it's really sad, man. There's no disrespect to the Juice World fans. Some people say that on his Instagram that he helped them out with anxiety issues. People looked up to him. It's a newer generation, but I will say I have a lot of respect for Juice World when he rapped over an hour from Tim Westwood. Now he did blow up from Lucid Dreams he had with Little Yachty, and I believe Interscope Records was very interested in him, and so he signed a multi-million-dollar contract in 2018, and that's when he started blowing out. He started doing little freestyles and handing out singles. But yeah, Tim Westwood TV, he can really rap, man. He was rapping off of Yonkers beat from Tyler the Creator. He's rapping off a lot of Eminem beats. I mean, this dude was straight flowing. So if you go on YouTube and check that out, man, the dude can really spit. So I'm not taking no type of talent away from him. It's just the content that maybe these record labels are pushing in our communities, in our agenda. That okay, well, drink this lean, smoke, drink, do all this type of stuff, man, because positivity doesn't sell records. And I know a lot of these artists, some of them don't do these type of things. Like Future, he doesn't do a drug, but he talks about it all the time in his lyrics. But at the end of the day, he's do that because hey, this is what the industry needs, and this is how I get my money. This is how I go on tour and create a big fan base. And that does take a lot of intelligence and time and networking skills to really sell yourself and get your music out here. I mean, music industry may be a little saturated at first, but man, I mean, it's a beautiful expression of the things that goes around you or how you feel, and music can really speaks to the soul, and especially with the right hertz, 432 hertz. But it's a it's a ascending thing, man. I was just thinking about like young rappers like that's around my age just dying, like Capital Steez from Joey Badass. Capital Steez took his own life, man, and he had actually good content with American Corruption, Kirk Knight, and Pro Era, these type of things, man. I mean, these was actually solid dudes, and you can tell like with Joey Badass, he was very influential through A Tribe Called Quest, and that's just why I listen to his music most of the time, man. I mean, it's very inspirational. Mortal Technique, that big '70s vibe, man, from New York, man. How hip hop was really originally rated from DJ Cool Herc, and you had KRS-One that's doing speeches about hip hop. So hip hop is a very beautiful thing for the black community. I really believe it, but you just got the hands of the people who have an evil agenda. They notice that music is its ability to, I won't say control people, but it's very influential, because something that you listen to each and every single day since you wake up in the morning before you go retire at night, you listen to the same thing over and over again, and it's embedded in you subconsciously. It's the best ways to transfer frequencies and messages, and I think they using that, these artists, as puppets in the black community to go ahead to proclaim a message that's controlled by whites. And that's not a good thing, because I was listening to a Malcolm X interview. I believe it took place in 1964, definitely before he was killed in '65. And he brought up a good point. He was like, you go to the white community or any other communities, they, or the Asian community, a celebrity or someone like a artist, a rapper, musician, whatever, actor, is not the spokesperson for the community. Yeah, I mean, they might be noticeable, but they're not the ones that's going out and doing leadership skills, or they're not the ones that the people for the most part, just look up to get things done politically. We as the black community, we look those up, those celebrities up, and those entertainers to speak on our behalves on various of issues that's controlled by whites. And so in relation, there are puppets. And he was just saying the correlation between that. This is why segregation is extremely important. But going in there, I just really feel like, man, it's probably something behind the scenes. Like, people don't understand. Maybe they think this was set up. I don't know. Doing more research on it, but it is really sad that you're hearing like more people that's in their 20s just dying like crazy. You signed a multi-million-dollar contract. You would think the money would actually help change their habits. And you gotta understand who is supplying these drugs to these rappers. Are these rappers just, hey, I got money and stuff? I mean, this is cool. You gotta drink, you gotta smoke, you gotta do all these things, in order to feel real. I mean, I feel like when you have a large amount of money based on a profession that you enjoy, producing music or a hobby, you will think that the average person will go ahead and set that money to a side, start building things in the community, being involved into charity, or buying land and stuff like that, and buying things for a family, instead of just going here like, oh well, I'm depressed and stuff, so I got a whole bunch of money, let me go ahead and get these drugs, let me go ahead and drink. And this, I remember when Cat Williams was saying that it kind of makes sense before he had his meltdown in California years ago. He was saying, can you imagine, like, he said, I wish I was broke. You want to know why? Because when you got $1 or $5, $10 in your pocket, you're limited on how to mess your life up. You might get one beer and that's it. Can you imagine somebody that has $2 or $3 million and they're depressed? You know how much liquor they're gonna consume? I was like, dang, everybody just started clapping, going crazy. It could be that too, just the elements, the things that goes on in the world. And this is for the message to the people that look up to artists. I mean, they're human beings that's like us too, man. And it's just one of those things that people just refer to these products and drinking cough syrup and mixing Sprite around it and just drinking it because they feel like, hey, I got the money for it, I'm depressed, it makes me feel good. This is the way that I can, just keep moving forward, and it's just substituting to bad habits in a way, man. But man, it shouldn't need to be more financial literacy programs, more things like that. I mean, it just can be really encouraging to raps, and just that when you make it, you don't have to resort to drugs when you go through things or you're stressed out, even though you have the ability and the money to acquire those things. But man, it's I think it just comes from boredom as well too. But I don't know, man. It's just a very sad situation to see your brother lose his life due to an illness, man. And seizures is a demonic entity as well. If you go back into the Bible, Matthew chapter 8, when God, Jesus Christ, was going through his ministry and his disciples was following him and they was witnessing what he was doing, he helped a young man that had a seizure. He touched him and bleed him. He said, demon, come out of him in the name of Jesus. Come out of this man. You even want a spirit. And the seizure was eliminated, because seizures means electrical impulses in the brain. It can happen anywhere. I mean, someone can be driving and automatically have a seizure and just trigger them, man. I mean, it's due to multiple stimulus in the brain, though. And it's a sad thing, man. You hear, I believe Deontay Waters, he had like gummies, edibles. I mean, things that your body's not really used to. I mean, anything to trigger seizure. But I know cough syrup, and drinking lean and mixing it with Sprite, that causes seizures as well. But it's a crazy thing, man. It's really something that you really can't control in a way, man. But I just think that you get more in tune with God, and this guy understands that you're not immortal at the end of the day, man. I remember he said in his rap lyrics that he's gonna live forever and all this stuff, and I don't know, man. It's just a sad thing, bro. It just, you're dying too young, and it's really not cool. It's not a good trending, and we still gonna be hearing this stuff on the radio, unfortunately. Just just like rappers promoting this type of stuff, but drugs and just depression, all these things. I'm just like, wow. But it's other options to go about those type of things, man. To understand, to go through the stress of life. But I just want to say rest in peace to Juice Wrld, 21 years of age, young man. Let me rest up, man, and his family. But you guys continue to like, comment, subscribe. That's all I really want to say. I'm out. Deuces.